The challenges right now are more on the buyer side. There is an extreme lack of inventory, especially in the suburban area of Chicago. So for the buyers, the hard part is finding something. And then when you do find something, you're not the only person looking for that thing. Not right now, So
Welcome to the Dream Home Podcast, the show where real estate meets real talk. Hosted by John Nagle, a seasoned expert with over $7 billion in real estate financing experience. This podcast features top realtors, builders, and financial pros. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we've got the tools to help you make smarter moves. Here's your host, John Nagle.
Welcome back to another episode of the Dream Home Podcast, where we explore the people, strategies, and insights that help turn the dream of homeownership and smart real estate decisions into reality. I'm your host, John Nagle of CMG Home Loans, and today we're heading to Greater Chicagoland area to talk with one of the region's standout real estate leaders. I'm excited to be joined by Michelle Rushing, founder and team lead of the Michelle Rushing Group with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Starck Real Estate. Michelle brings over 20 years of real estate experience, has built a business largely driven by referrals, and is known for her integrity, transparency, strong advocacy, and client-first approach. She is also a 2025 Chairman's Circle Platinum recipient, placing her team in the top 1% of the Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Global Network. Michelle also holds the Referral Channel Certified and Luxury Collection Specialist designations, and her earlier recognition includes a Rising Star Real Estate Agent Award in 2019. Michelle and her team serve clients across Palatine, Chicago, and the surrounding suburbs, with experience spanning buyers, sellers, relocation, investment properties, commercial real estate, luxury homes, new construction, and first-time home buyers. Her team branding emphasizes more than 50 years of combined experience, and her client reviews consistently highlight communication, patience, market knowledge, and going above and beyond. Michelle is also deeply rooted in her community, including service with the Palatine Park District Board of Commissioners. Michelle, welcome to the Dream Home Podcast. I'm really glad to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So, Michelle, let's kick things off with a big one. When someone is deciding whether to work with your team, what do you believe truly sets the Michelle Rushing Group apart from everyone else in the Chicagoland market?
Well, having a team to begin with is a huge benefit to our clients because nobody can be in more than one place at one time. And everybody has families and obligations and other clients. So having the team, we work so well together. Everybody on my team is kind and cares about their clients, works really hard to make sure that their clients are in every home first. If they're a buyer, wants to make sure that their listing is shown the best and in as many places as possible. And everybody on my team is like that. So there's nobody that strays from that. Aside from that, I mean, I guess it would depend on the buy side or the listing side, right? Or the commercial side or the relocation side. There's so many different things that our team does. One of our agents is licensed in Wisconsin, so we can help you if you're looking Northern Illinois and Wisconsin. You could use the same team. We have people that are licensed in commercial real estate. So if you have additional things that you need for buyers, I would say that's one of our, especially first-time home buyers, one of our biggest strong suits is just making sure, like you were saying on everything previously, that the communication is there and the knowledge is there, and that you have agents that are eager to get you into everything first, to make sure you win the multiple offers without spending too much money, because unfortunately that's the way the market is right now with the lack of inventory. You have to have experience. You have to have experience to know how to win these situations for your clients without having your clients leave money on the table. And then the same way on the listing side. So you want knowledgeable realtors in your corner that can see things before they're going to happen, that can protect you from situations that they've been through because they have experience and they know how to keep those situations from happening to you. A lot of people on the listing side, they think that the dollar amount is the end all be all. Well, we'll just take the offer that, offers the most money. Well, did your realtor talk to all of the loan officers? Is it cash? Is it not? Are they doing an appraisal? Are they not? Is it going to appraise? These people offered $50,000 over list price, so clearly we're going to go with them. Well, they offered $50,000 over list price, but they're doing a 20% down conventional loan. Do they have the money to offset if it doesn't appraise? Can they even afford to do that? Did your realtor check if they had proof of funds for that situation? And then at the same time, are they doing as is, no requests? Are they waiving appraisal? Are they doing as is with requests and they're only offering $50,000 over so they can hammer you at the inspection? So as you can see, there are so many different ways things can go wrong and things can go right. So I would say with my team, mostly because I'd say we have our group, we all, confer together about these situations. So you have 5 brains working on it and 5 brains, doing battle for you in every corner to make sure your experience is wonderful. You have constant communication. And at the end of the day, you're 100% happy.
Absolutely. So your business has been built heavily through referrals, which says a lot. What do you think past clients and referral partners are really saying about you when they put your name on the line and send a family or friends your way?
What does it mean to me? Or
what do you think they're saying about you when they send someone to you as a referral?
Well, I hope. I hope, and the fact that they are sending the referral obviously means something, means a lot, actually. I think that they're saying that if you want somebody who is going to pick up your calls no matter what time it is, respond to your texts immediately, jump if a new house comes on the market that, fits your criteria, somebody that's willing to literally drop everything because they understand that this is the priority. You're at home buying and selling. Is it the priority at that moment? Because it's, for most people, the biggest investment you're going to make in your life. So the fact that they trust me, referring me to other people, they know that I put them before the dollar amount. I'm not trying to push clients through and get the paycheck. I will spend the time. I've had listings, we're not getting the offers that I want on it. Now, mind you, not in this current market, but lesser markets. I don't push you to do a price reduction. I'm not let's lower the price. If I know that that's not the problem and it's just, the way the market is right now or a bad weekend or whatever it is, I'm going to figure it out. The last thing I'm going to ask you to do is to lower the price. And if I know where the value is and I told you what the value is, I am going to fight to at least get you that value. And I think that's why they refer me.
Yes, and you've earned major recognition inside the Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices network, including Gold Team honors and now Platinum. What standards or habits inside your team do you think have driven that level of consistency and growth?
Well, we're always a work in progress and we're always getting better. Actually last year there were 3 of us on the team, and 2 more who I love, joined our team towards the end of the year. So most of last year was just the 3 of us actually, getting to that level, which is super promising, moving forward. But I think the fact that we're in communication with each other, we really help each other out. So if somebody has a client, looking for something, we're all looking for things. We're reaching out to our spheres, our family members, people in those neighborhoods. As we work, I live in Palatine. One of our agents lives in Mount Prospect, one in Des Plaines, another in Palatine, and another in Volo, actually. So we're kind of all over the place, which is nice, but we're also a part of, the Facebook groups and the different ways to find homes that aren't available to anybody else. And we've made some magic happen together. We've made some things that I don't know I don't know. I don't know if anybody else would have actually made it happen, but yeah, I'd say that's why, because we will do anything to make sure that our clients get the house or get the house sold.
Yeah, that's so important. So let's talk about the people you serve every day. What are the biggest challenges buyers and sellers in Chicagoland are facing right now, and how are you helping them navigate through those challenges with confidence?
So we'll have to separate the two of those because the challenges right now are more on the buyer side. There is an extreme lack of inventory, especially in the suburban area of Chicago. So for the buyers, the hard part is finding something. And then when you do find something, you're not the only person looking for that thing, not right now, So the first thing is making sure that, again, you have realtors that are on it, and you really have to be on it. So one of my first tricks for buyers, and not tricks, I mean, this is just normal sales, and you should do this anyway, but not everybody does. So first thing you want to do is call the other realtor. So if you have a client that loves a house and there's 80 other people that love the house, establish a relationship with the listing agent. So at least that, establish that relationship, find out what's going on. Do you have offers yet? Are they going to lie sometimes and say yes? Yes, they're going to lie sometimes.
Okay.
Hopefully they don't, but you can sort of, you can gauge what the interest level is on that house, right? Before them even answering the question. And then from there, working towards, personally, I try to get a home off the market before they have the open house that weekend. I'd like to have my client make an offer if they love the house. Let's get it off the market before 50 more people come through this house, because now you're competing with 50 additional people. So who knows? You're not a cash buyer. They're a cash buyer, There's so many different ways you can go with that. Then it's also navigating do I make my offer as is? I know it scares a lot of buyers, marking that little as is thing. But things that they should know about that, there's, 3 different versions of that. There is the now as is waive inspection, which I would never, ever, ever tell anybody to do. Unless you're knocking down the house, I would not do that. As is with requests, which doesn't really mean as is. I guess the way I look at it is we're going to make requests, but we're not going to ask for the little things. And then there's, as is, no requests. If you sign as is, no requests, which I have to tell you, almost every other offer is going to put as is, no requests. And the seller is probably only going to pick the people that put that down. Because why wouldn't you? why are you going to go with somebody that's like as is, but I'm going to request things, versus somebody that says we're not going to request anything? Here's the kicker. Almost every single time somebody puts as is, no requests, they still request things. If something major comes up, if there's mold in the attic, if the sewer line is collapsed, those things. And usually the seller will be like, okay, well, we didn't know that. We get it. We should handle that, because guess what? The next buyer that comes along is probably going to want the same thing covered, right? So don't be afraid, because as is, no request does not mean that you can't request something. It just means they can cancel on you if you request something. But guess what? No matter what you put on there, they could cancel on you if you request something. So I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. So just make sure you're working with somebody that knows the difference between all of those. And making strong offers, escalation riders, appraisal gap addendums, to a point, to make sure that your realtor is checking the comps to see how much money they're asking you to light on fire. I don't like to do those. I only like to do those if I can see the price point, matching out and it makes sense. And then on the listing side, which is a much more glorious place to be right now, making sure that, at least in my neighborhood right now, you could make sure that you're the only house available in the whole, I don't know, region
Yeah.
if you wanted to. Just making sure you're following the private listing network, checking for open house or for sale signs, coming soon signs, people that aren't in the private listing network. That's why it's also nice to have a team and other resources. We hear about these things. We all talk. I'm very friendly with a lot of the realtors in my area and some other areas. I like to maintain good relationships with them. So we talk to each other. A lot of times I'll get listings sold, before we even list, so that, the client doesn't have to even deal with the 90 people coming through their house, but I still get them the same value for the home. It's a lot to navigate right now, but if you're doing it the right way, you're going to be happy.
So can you share an example of a client who came to you overwhelmed, maybe a first-time home buyer, a relocation client, or a family dwelling, selling a long-time home, and how you helped simplify the process for them?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll go back to Mary, who I had talked to about previously, but we'll start from scratch on this story.
Mm-hmm.
A previous client of mine called me. His name is John, and I had sold his mother-in-law's home. I knew him, I think, through family friend referral networks. Sold his mother-in-law's home for him, and he called me disheveled because his sister Mary had lost her husband about 6 months previous to this phone call, and she lived in this beautiful home, a different home, but beautiful home, beautiful lot, backed up to a lake. The house needed work, but there was so much potential, and you couldn't replace really this lot and the nature and everything that went along with it. She had gotten an offer from Grandview Homes to sell to them for around $220,000. And I guess she was about to sign the paperwork. John called me. He said, Michelle, please go see my sister Mary before she signs this. She had the paperwork there ready to sign because she was overwhelmed. The house, her husband had passed unexpectedly. Mm-hmm. She was mildly disabled. She had to walk with a walker. There was a lot of stuff in her house, and there were a lot of things that she knew hadn't been tended to in a while. There was a lot of remodeling, things that needed to be done. So I went over there, and just the lot and the land and I said, Mary, even if I put this on the market the way it is right now, you're going to get $100,000 more dollars. So, but I can get you a lot more than that. And this was I found out the only money she had to live off of, for the rest of her life. So, besides, whatever, government funds and whatnot she was getting, right? So I wanted to make sure that we got her as much money as possible. So in this situation, I called my estate sale company that I use, and we brought them over there. And all of the stuff that she was so worried about getting rid of before listing, and that's why she was just going to sign off her house, she ended up making $10,000 off of those items with the estate sale company. So then I had her take some of that money and pay a painter and a carpet guy, two resources that I had, the painter and handyman that I use, and then the flooring guy that I use. And so she maybe spent $5,000 of the $10,000 to just freshen some things up. And one example, the roof had a leak that from a long, long time ago. And since then, the roof had been replaced, which was great. So it had almost a brand new roof. But if you looked at the ceiling, it did not look like you had a brand new roof. It was just, I don't know, somebody tried to plaster it themselves, and it just did not look great. So I said, the ceiling needs to be handled because that's going to take some money away. So we did, a few little things. And then we had the junk removal company come in and take away everything that wasn't sold in the estate sale. And then we had the cleaning lady, who happens to be the wife of the handyman and painter, and she came through, and we ended up getting her an offer for $180,000 more than she was going to sign the home away to. So almost double the money.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And she couldn't be a more beautiful person. So I'm very, 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 very happy that her brother called me before she signed that away, because that would have been terrible.
And just shows how valuable of a resource you are to people that are out there that are not in the market. They were going to get taken advantage of in this other situation. And the fact that John made that call on behalf of his sister, look at the difference that it made in her life for the rest of her life, really. That amount of money, that's a lot of money.
And mine too, because I got to meet her, and she, like I said, she just wanted like a ray of sunshine, so I would have been really upset had I met her and known that had happened to her and I wasn't able to fix it for her. So that worked out well.
So Michelle, let's shift into resources, because listeners always love practical takeaways. For a seller in today's market, what are the biggest tools or resources your team brings that actually change the outcome, whether that's pricing, strategy, staging guidance, marketing, vendor relationships, or communication systems?
Oh, wow. All of the above. So let's see. Where should we start? What was the first one you mentioned? The
first one was pricing strategy, then staging, marketing.
Okay. So pricing strategy. We have office meetings, it's multi-office meetings every week, and we discuss this all of the time, and we all come to the well-known agreement that you want to price the house perfectly. You don't want to completely underprice it and leave money on the table for your seller, but you certainly don't want to overprice it, because if you overprice it, they're not going to cut. Even in this market, they know when it's grossly overpriced, they're not going to come. You want to price the home where it's valued, price it at the value, and let the market decide for you how much more money you're going to be getting. Because when you price it according to what it's worth, everybody wants it. It's almost like everybody, it's like, oh, finally, somebody realistic. And then they're willing to pay $30,000 more than that, $50,000 more than that, depending on obviously the price point. But if you had priced it $30,000 or $50,000 more than that, they wouldn't even come look at it. So for whatever reason, if they think you're reasonable, they're willing to overpay on the house. So it's very, 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 very important. And very, very strategic in how we figure out the value on your home. We go through, every comp going back. And a comp is a comparison property for anybody listening who doesn't know that, but we go through every room of every single one and go through every item. They did the roof, they didn't do the roof. This one has new windows, this one has new appliances, and almost, not an appraisal, but almost like an appraisal where we are checking everything to figure out exactly within, a $10,000 to $15,000 range, what your home is worth in your neighborhood, in your school district right now. And then we will tell you what we'll probably end up getting for it, but where we should reasonably price it. As far as marketing, was that the next? So staging?
Yes, marketing.
Staging.
Yes.
Everybody on my team is a certified staging consultant. I have so much staging stuff. I don't even know. Mostly, we're in the AI days and the virtual staging and whatnot. If your home is occupied, I come through with 8 million throw pillows and throw blankets and vases and picture frames, and just take some things and sort of freshen them up for the interior look so that it's not bothering you living, so you're still living how you want to live. I just add a little bit more decor, a little more fluff, make it more show ready. And then if need be, or if it's a vacant home, we also have the virtual staging, which actually looks really nice, really nice, as long as you do it properly, as long as you know that sometimes ChatGPT wants to take a window and move it to the other side of the room, and you have to I don't know if you've tried working with that yet, mm-hmm. but it will lengthen walls, it will change window sizes. Like, it's sometimes you have to work with it for a very, very long time to get exactly what you want, but it's worth it, because the first you only have one shot at this listing getting sent out to the masses, right? You have one shot at how it's getting presented, and you want to put your best foot forward. You want every single room to look perfect, and we make sure of that. We have as far as photography, we have obviously professional photographers. For the love of God, if you hire a realtor and they walk through your home with an iPhone, and those are going to be your photos, No. You should not be paying anybody to represent your home that is not having a professional photo shoot done. No, please no. Don't let that happen to you. Please ask what they plan on doing for photos. So we have professional photography, videography, drone photos, 3D tours. Oh God, floor plans. Yes, the drone photos and the drone videos. Everything, everything you can do to make this property stand out compared to, especially the iPhone listings.
That's a very important point, because the quality of those photos has changed because of the professional photographer, and it is a huge difference. I actually have a property that we're working on right now that is exactly what you said. It's the iPhone picture, and they're going, well, it's been on the market for a long time. We don't understand why it's not moving, and it's like, really? Okay, well, I understand, and I'm just in the lending side of the business. I'm not even on the real estate selling side. So it's a great point. And you're doing it way, all the different multimedia, the videos and the drone and the everything. So you're covering all the bases. So that's awesome. And that's exactly why you're so successful, is because you are covering all the bases.
Yeah, I mean, and even if it's, I don't care if I'm listing a $100,000 condo or $1.5 million home, everybody's getting all of those services with us. So it's not only for the fancy luxury clients. It's everybody gets that, because I like, at the end of the day, for my clients to feel like I was free. I like them to feel like all the work that I did and my team did, or my team members did, I want them to feel like we got our expenses covered and then some for what we did and what the experience we brought to them, and obviously the money that we brought to them. And yeah, so I everything, we have to do everything every single time.
So let's talk about when you walk through the experience with a client, what can they expect when they work with Michelle, with you and your team, from that very first conversation all the way to closing day?
Oh, on the buy side or the listing side?
Yeah, I would say which one is more challenging now? It's the buy side, right?
The buy side is more challenging now. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, I guess.
So the first thing we want to ask is, are you pre-qualified? Have you spoken with your lender? Do you have a trusted lender? May I suggest a trusted lender? Is your trusted lender your cousin's, nephews, somebody who's hasn't been in the business very long? How do they work? You want to make sure, start with that. And you want to make sure that that person is good at what they do and they're responsive. They know the rules. They know the laws. They actually know everything about you, that they ask all of the questions. They look into your credit and how to make that better. The sooner you talk to a loan officer, honestly, the better. Even if you don't plan on buying for 2 years. You don't know. There's so many people that can buy right now that don't know that they can buy because they just don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? So honestly, it never hurts to reach out to your loan officer and find out where you're at. Find out where you are right now. And sometimes you could buy right now if you wanted to. You're not ready. Cool. Let's do these couple of things then in the meantime to put you in an even better position for when you do buy. And then obviously you, loan officer, can tell them, let's not buy a new car and let's not do these things and let's keep the credit score up. So once you do that and now you're ready. So you talk to your loan officer, you're pre-approved, you have the amount of money that you're approved up to. A lot of people want to stay below what you can afford, but at least you know that margin, right? And there's some people that want more than they can afford, but that's a whole other story. So now we know where your margin is, because then when you talk to your real estate agent and you meet with us and we discuss your wants and your needs. So your family is growing, you're getting married and you're going to have a baby, and you want a 3-bedroom house, and we talk to our loan officer and this is what we can afford, but this is where we want to stay. Good, because now let's say you can stay between $400,000 and $600,000, let's say. Let's say that's your margin. You could go up to $700,000, but you're comfortable at 6 and under. Well, I'm glad that we know that now. Instead of sending you to $850,000, $900,000 homes, and now you're looking at $600,000 homes, you're not gonna like any of the $600,000 homes, not in the same exact areas, right? You're not gonna. That's a big margin. That's a 50% jump on the price point. So that's why it's very important to figure that aspect out first, and then, my team gets to know everybody. Like, who's in the family, who's going to be living here, why do we want these areas? Is it because of work? Where do you work? Where do you plan on working? Where does your wife work? Is there a school district that you prefer? Do you have a dog? Do you need a fenced yard, or do you at least need a yard that can be fenced? You have to find out. There's so many little thin nuances that people don't realize they have to bring up. Like, for example, the fence thing. You really need a fence? I have a 140-pound rescue dog. I need a fence. I could never live somewhere where there's no fence, right? So we figure out all of those things. And then we start with the process of, finding them homes. Now is harder. There used to be a day where we'd put everything into our little magic computer and 40 options would spew out of it for an area. And now it could be 2 or 3 that are popping out. But let's go with a normal situation where it's like, 20 homes pop out. Then we go through each home, discuss, with their loan officer, what are these numbers going to look like? Because sometimes they'll get the between 400,000 and 600,000, and then they get, what their monthly payment is going to look like. And they're like, wait a minute, they didn't take into account taxes and, PMI, if that's going to be there and whatnot. So that now we want to really figure out what your magic number is after looking at some homes that you think you like and paying attention to things like taxes, association fees, if the taxes are going up, all of those fun things. And then we, start with the fun part, look at houses. And then we look at houses and we look at every house the second it comes on the market in this market, and as many as we have to look at until we find the one that you walk into. And I don't want you to say, oh yeah, I guess this works. No. This has to be your house. So if you walk in and this is what you want and this is your house, then my team and I are going to fight tooth and nail to get you that house. And then the next part of the process would be getting you that house, obviously. And then we go to attorneys and inspectors. And I obviously have my attorneys and home inspectors that I use regularly. I use them not because I get anything from them. I know some people think that with referral partners, they think, well, when you're not in the industry, it's illegal to do that anyway, but people that aren't in the industry don't understand that. So the only thing I get out of referring people out is knowing that my clients are going to be taken care of properly. So that's why I like when people use my attorneys and I like when people use my home inspectors, because I know how they work. So then we go through the home inspection process. I explained a little bit earlier the as-is situations. I guide you, and everybody on my team will guide you on what additional inspections we think you should have based on the property. If you should have a radon test, if you should have a sewer scope. I always, always, always recommend a sewer scope, because that could be a non-issue. It could be a $50,000, $60,000 issue, depending on if the sewer line is going under your brick paver driveway. So never pass on the sewer scope inspection. Then from there, hopefully we get through attorney review, inspection period, everybody's happy, and then get through the loan process, and yay, happy day, final walkthrough and closing.
There you go. So what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about buying, selling, or investing in the next 6 to 12 months, but keeps putting it off?
So there are a lot of people, the reason we're in this situation right now is because there are a lot of people that don't want to sell because they have a 3% interest rate, and they can imagine going up to the 6% interest rate, which, if you've been in this industry for a while, 6% is actually a good interest rate. We just got the weirdo 3%, 4% time period, I don't even know if that's ever going to happen again. 3%, 4%. I mean, it could, but if you're waiting around for that, I have people that bought homes from me in 2022. We just got into 2026, and they're selling them for 50% more than they bought it for in 2022. So do you think if you go look at the difference in interest you would have been paying over those couple of years, is that $200,000? Is that $100,000? Because that's the values of these homes are still going up. And again, marry the house, you don't marry the interest rate. The interest rates will always go like this, right? And they will inevitably get lower than where they are, but they're not, historically, they're not bad. I remember hearing about, well, back around when my parents bought their first house, it was like 19% interest rate. I don't know how anybody afforded a house back then, but that's what it was. So I don't know. I wouldn't let an interest rate restrict me from moving on with my life. If you want the bigger house, get the bigger house. If you want the smaller house, get the smaller house. Don't let that restrict you from doing what you want to do with your life, because if you're paying more in interest, you're still getting the equity. You're still paying down your mortgage and you're still getting equity. And lately the equity has been insane around here. So I bet you probably wish that you did sell your house in 2022 and bought something else in 2022, because now that value has gone up immensely.
No, I think that's a really great point. I always tell people this: when I started in the business, 9.5 was the normal interest rate for a home purchase. And we would see VA loans that were 20 years old at 6%, and we could not believe people ever borrowed money that cheaply. So where we've changed, and I was in the commercial world for a while, we were paying 22% interest on our construction loans. So that's so widespread. So you're exactly right. These interest rates today are actually pretty good when you look at this 40, 50, 60-year history of interest rates. And the other side of that is look at the appreciation of the homes. So you're paying, instead of 4%, you're paying 6% or 5.75%. Well, how fast does that make up? If your home goes up in value this year, 3 or 4 or 5%, it makes it up immediately.
And more
right?
around here.
I mean, it's double what that interest difference is. So you're absolutely right about that, not sitting on that 3% just because you're at 3%. You take your money and go, and especially if you're upsizing, because in theory, if the appreciation goes up on a more expensive home, you're going to have more appreciation. Mm-hmm. Your investment's going to grow more. So yeah, I think that's a great point. So one fun last question for you. If someone were moving to Palatine or greater Chicagoland area and had time for just one local experience, what would you tell them not to miss?
Ooh. Hey, a Cubs game. I'd have to start with a Cubs game. I'm huge Cub fan. My children are named Addison and Dawson. My dogs are Rizzo and El Mago. I Bears obviously too, but there's just something about Wrigley Field. It's just an ambiance. I'm a big baseball fan in general, so I visited Fenway. I had, very similar feeling at Fenway. I still think, don't get mad at me, Boston people, I still think Wrigley's better, but I'm also, a Cub fan. So I would definitely say, yeah, you have to go to a Cubs game if you're going to be here. And if it's, off season for the Cubs, then you definitely have to go to a Blackhawks game or a Bears game. Obviously I'm very, very sports minded. So that's initially where my mind goes.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. It's an iconic field, and there are very few, meet that, like you say. So it's definitely the thing to attend is a Cubs game if you can do that while you're in Chicago.
And this current team, that's the current team that we have. Like, if you could go this summer, I would definitely go to a Cubs game, because we have just a great group of guys. You can just tell when a team is, when a team clicks. And this is a very lovable team. Our 2016 team, that whole crew, very, very lovable. I love this crew. I loved our 2003 crew, so it's definitely a good time to go check out a ball game at Wrigley.
For sure. So Michelle, thank you very much for being with us today. I love the way you combine high-level production with a real sense of care, strategy, and responsibility to the people who you serve. It's easy to see why your business has grown through referrals and why your team has earned recognition at such a high level. For everyone listening, if you're thinking about buying, selling, relocating, or investing in the Chicagoland area, Michelle Rushing and the Michelle Rushing Group are clearly a team you'll want to know. You can reach out to Michelle and her team at mrushing.starckre.com. That's MRUSHING.STARCKRE.com. And we'll also include her information in the show notes as well. And if you're looking to get pre-approved or explore financing options for your next move, I'd love to help. Visit dreamhomepodcast.com or reach out to me at CMG Home Loans. We're happy to help make the process smoother, smarter, and a whole lot less stressful. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share it with a friend, and stay tuned for more conversations with great real estate professionals helping people make confident moves. Thanks for tuning in to the Dream Home Podcast. We'll see you next time. Michelle, thanks again. It's been great to have you. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This was so fun. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Dream Home Podcast, hosted by John Nagle. Ready to take the next step toward your dream home? Visit www.dreamhomepodcast.com for resources, tips, and expert advice. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, leave a review, and join us next time for more real estate insights and mortgage tips. Until then, happy home hunting.